You're watching Fugitive Redeye, your home for shitty webcam videos. Thought I'd start with that since we're doing a webcam raw again. Again, I like to alternate. The webcam looks like shit, but it's charm. I don't know. People may hate it. People may like it. Point is, that's what I'm doing at this moment. Like with raw, it's either the webcam or the phone. So it's like, you pick your poison. They both have their benefits. The webcam, I have higher audio quality with the webcam because I use the mic. But with the phone, much better video quality. So, Anyway, enough of that shit. Let's not go off on a tangent about the video making. Let's talk about the topic. So, as you read in the title, I think that the word edgy doesn't have any fucking meaning anymore. Because it gets overused. It gets used in many different ways. And it's kind of just a scapegoat to just, discredit someone for having a differing opinion. I think it's fucking stupid. So, what I mean by that, right? So what exactly do you think of when you hear the word edgy? Do you think of someone listening to Linkin Park? That's one thing you think of, right? I don't know why exactly that's edgy. Maybe because it's kind of emo-y. So emo-y, like emo, kind of edgy, right? That's the idea there, right? Okay. Or do you think of over-the-top violence and gore and stuff like that? Okay, that's another meaning for it. Do you think politically incorrect? Okay. Do you think... there's a lot of things you think of. Do you think of, just being offensive and over the top? Do you think of Chase from JoJo for some reason? Because if you do, you're fucking retarded. Yes, I know. I have not let that one go. A lot of people say Chase is edgy, and I think I talked about the whole edgy not having any meaning when I talked about Chase being a good JoJo OP in, like, the 3rd episode of Redeye Raw. Something like that. Back before I had the beard. No, I don't think that the word edgy has any meaning. I've seen comments on, like, Death Note videos saying shit like, people said with the villain just to be edgy, and first off, I don't think Death Note has a villain. I think that it's two different perspectives that are both flawed, and ultimately I do think L is the more correct and morally upright one, but I don't think one is inherently the villain over the other, but I've already gone into that in a whole other video. Point is, another thing I hear people use edgy for is for contrarian opinions. So, like, let's say there's a movie or show or something that's really hated. Like, let's take an example that I have not personally seen, but is widely considered to be one of the worst movies ever made. If someone came forward and said, I really like that movie, Freddy Got Fingered, and then someone says, oh, that's pretty edgy, the fuck does edgy even mean anymore? You know what I mean? Like, edgy used to mean, like, it had an edge. It was, it was a bit spicy. But, no, it really doesn't have any meaning anymore. Because, like, again, people call the intro Chase from JoJo edgy. They call Linkin Park edgy, which they've already always done. And, it's emo as fuck. But, again, emo and edgy aren't necessarily hand in hand. Or at least there's two different words for two different reasons, I thought. I don't know. I think it's fucking stupid. It annoys me. Like, I remember I saw a mashup of Death Note and Chase. And I think I mentioned this in the Chase video. Where someone said that Chase, someone said, oh wow, this fits really well actually, and then someone responded, because what they did was they took the first intro from Death Note, but the audio was Chase, from JoJo, and they fit really well, they did. And someone's like, wow, these fit up really well. And someone said, Chase is just a generic edgy song, throw it over any generic gory anime with, any generic gory edgy anime, and I'm like, has this fucker ever seen Death Note? There is no gore in Death Note. Like, the closest thing to gore is Matt's death. And even then, it's not gory, it's just blood. So, what the fuck are you on about? I don't know. I think that edgy is an overused word. And I fucking hate... Like, I do not use that word anymore. I just don't. Because, some people, like, there are people I know that they themselves, they say all sorts of offensive, over-the-top shit. But they hate it when people are too edgy, right? Like, I know people that, like, they like to use, all sorts of offensive language, They say offensive shit. They use racial slurs as a joke, obviously, but still they go over the top, right? but then they hate being called edgy, and they hate people who are too edgy. It's like, motherfucker, you're the edgiest person I know. Like, people who talk about constantly killing themselves, and then, like, constantly just make jokes about that, and then they fucking complain when other people are too edgy. I'm so sick of it. Edgy has no meaning, and I'm fucking sick of it. I think what prompted me to make this was I was listening to one of Light's themes from the Death Note soundtrack, and I saw a comment, again, people saying, it's a good villain when you side with him, and then someone said, people side with villains all the time just to be edgy. And it's like, okay, first off, again, I don't think Death Note has an inherent villain. I do think that L is closer to being the hero, and Light is closer to being the villain in a moral standpoint. But from a narrative standpoint, I would say Light is closer to being the hero, because I would argue Light is the protagonist and L is the antagonist. That's debatable because it is told from both perspectives, fairly split. Obviously, Light tends to be favored, especially in the latter half for obvious reasons. But then again, I would say that the latter half, even though Light is more of a focus, and Nier and Mello are there, I would say that Light is more portrayed as a bad guy in the latter half. So, I don't know. I think that edgy is just a word that doesn't have any meaning. Here's a completely unrelated tangent, though. I saw a Hero Hey video earlier today. Apparently Funimation is doing a partnership with Viz. And I was already having my doubts about Viz, right? But they have JoJo, and they hadn't done anything as egregious as Funimation. And now I'm worried that if I decide to buy Golden Wind Part 2, I'm going to be giving money to Funimation, and I don't give money to Funimation, no matter what I do. Again, I don't pay for any of the subscription services I have access to. I only buy anime from companies that have not pissed me off enough yet. I will give the benefit of the doubt in some cases, right? But I don't give money to Funimation. That's a big thing right there. And I was already on the fence with Viz, so now I'm like, fuck. I either gotta buy Golden Wind Part 2 used, or figure something else with that. Or, I don't know. It's so frustrating. Because Viz was like, because again, they have JoJo, and that's the only reason I care. Because I don't really buy anime anymore, because, truth be told, I don't give a fuck about anime anymore. Like, I do, don't get me wrong, but like, a lot of new anime that's coming out, I am not interested in the slightest. You get a bunch of generic battle shonen, and you get a bunch of generic slice of life. That's all you fucking get now. I'd love to have something else. So, don't get me wrong, battle shonen can be fine. I like a lot of battle shonen, for sure. I mean, JoJo's technically a battle shonen, although it became a seinen, I think, starting with Part 5. But, point is, I think that it's frustrating how these companies have all the, control over everything. And I know this has nothing to do with the original topic, but whatever, I don't mind going off on tangents. It's Redeye Raw, so you gotta deal with it. I think that it's very frustrating. But yeah, modern anime I'm not the biggest fan of. Since I've already gone off on this tangent, might as well continue with that train of thought. I like modern anime. Don't get me, I have said multiple times that I thought the 2010s decade was like the best decade ever for anime. And I stand by that. I do. I do think that the early 2000s and the 80s are big contenders too, as is the 90s, and even to a lesser extent the 70s, although the 70s only have like 3 or 4 series that I've actually seen. Let's see, Devilman, Cutie Honey, Mazinger Z. Yeah, I think that's about it. So, anyway, I think that I've gone on a lot of tangents already, and I've bitched enough, but point is, I hate that people overuse the word edgy. I hate that anime in the West is becoming a fucking monopoly, and that we have to deal with all these shitty distributors. But yeah, I've gone off topic enough, so toodles.
Your Olympic hero has arrived. It's true, it's true.